everyone, I'm Melissa McAllister, and you're listening to The Melissa Made Show. Now, for decades, I've dedicated myself to helping women break the cycle of dieting, navigate through all the fads, and change their lives through my nutrition coaching. Now, each week, I'm going to talk about everything from deep nutrition, mindset, self-care, the ideal workout routine, tips on how and why to implement intermittent fasting in your life, my favorite recipes that are not only crowd pleasers, but they're actually healthy for you, and so much more. Now, with small and consistent changes, you can defy aging while living a happier, healthier, and more heart-filled life. I'm so excited to show you it's possible with the right strategies that are so simple to adopt. Hello, you guys. Welcome to the Melissa Made Show. Once again, I'm in my office and I'm coming on to do this podcast because it's really just a reaction to being on social media this morning. And so we're going to revisit fat again. I want to talk to you a little bit more in depth about dietary fat. And before I get started, I want to ask you to truly ask yourself, how do you feel about dietary fat? Eating fat, having butter, having a steak, putting coconut oil on your vegetables, actually drinking full fat milk, things like that. How do you feel about that? Do you still have the, it's going to make me fat idea? I still see a lot of people, especially in the fitness world, this stemmed from, I'll tell you exactly where this stemmed from. I was watching someone that I follow that was making breakfast, and she was making oatmeal and had egg whites, and next to her were the shells with the egg yolk in them. And I was like, oh, eat that egg yolk. And I know that this particular person says that their body just doesn't do well with fat. And that right there, fat is essential fatty acids. Fat is essential for your health. Now, just for cell health alone. So keep in mind that every cell that you have has a fatty layer around it. And if you aren't getting good quality, healthy, nature created fat, then those little walls around your cells aren't soft like your skin, they get dry. And so not only can things not get into the cells, but things that are in the cells can't get out. And it makes your cell health not its best by not having enough healthy fat in your diet. And I always equate it to when, you hear people say carbohydrates are bad. Let's just say, carbohydrates are bad. Like people say fat is bad. Carbohydrates are bad. And so that person that hears carbohydrates are bad will cut all carbs out. I mean, they won't think about the vegetables and the fruit that is a carbohydrate, but so good for you and so full of nutrition. That's the same way. It's not the fat that's bad for you. It's the kind of fat. So same thing. So these people are not just cutting out their Snickers and their donuts. They're cutting out all carbohydrates. Now, there are fats that are bad for you, but there are fats that are essential to your health. So you guys probably all know there's 4 different kinds of fat. We've got polyunsaturated fat, monounsaturated fat, saturated fat, and then trans fat. So your polyunsaturated fats, you're going to see your omega-3s, like your salmon and almonds, for instance. Very healthy food, right? Considered superfoods. Your monounsaturated fats, you can think more avocados and olive oil. Saturated fats can come from coconut oil, medium chain triglycerides. So good for the brain. I probably shouldn't whisper on my podcast. And grass-fed, grass-finished meat. And then your trans fat. Not good. And even though it was banned in the FDA, they're still found in food. So foods that are breaded, French fries from like fast food places and stuff, and pastries still have trans fat in them. And trans fat has been shown numerous times to be poor for you. So that is the bad fat and the fat that you want to avoid altogether. But saturated fat isn't bad. Monounsaturated fat and polyunsaturated fat is not bad. Now, There's still schools of thought that you need to limit your saturated fat. So I'll leave that up to you, but you can still have saturated fat in your diet and be incredibly healthy. I was looking for studies. It's so funny too, because that's one of the things when you go and look for studies on saturated fat, you will find all the studies that say it's not, if it comes from a quality source like a grass-fed, grass-finished cow, it's not bad for you. And then you'll find some people that are just like, it's the worst thing on the planet for you. So you got to kind of, take it or leave it. But some saturated fat, even from the AHA, American Heart Association, say saturated is fine, limited quantities. What about an egg, which is what we were just talking about? This person that had egg whites for breakfast, ignoring the egg yolk. I think most people think that an egg is just saturated fat, and it's really not. The egg yolk has 38% monounsaturated fat. So it's mostly monounsaturated fat. So good for you. It has 16% polyunsaturated fat and about 28% saturated fat. So it's mostly monounsaturated fat. And I think you've heard me say a million times, there's nutrients inside that yolk, which makes sense, right? There's nutrients inside that yolk, especially choline. Choline is a very important property that we need in our diets, and eggs are an excellent source of not only protein. There's protein in the egg yolk. There's also healthy fat, and there's nutrients like choline that you need. So this low-fat diet has caused us to fear fat, and we just can't do that. And I know that the thought process is, well, fat is 9 calories a gram, where my carbohydrates and my protein are 4, so I can eat more. Calories matter. I'll never deny that. But I don't think if you look at a pyramid or the hierarchy of health, I don't think that the most important thing is how many calories does something have. I actually think it's kind of one of the least important. I think is how does it serve your body? How does it, help with your hormone health, with your hormone health, your brain health, your heart health? How does it give you energy? Does it sustain you for a long time? So you're not eating every 1 to 2 hours thinking that you're always hungry. That's just not a fun place to be, to always feel like you're hungry. So we've got to remember that fat is essential and it's very healthy for you. And if you think about fat in the way of getting it from natural foods, instead of the trans fats and stuff that come from breaded food and fried foods and, pastries and biscuits and stuff like that. Am I making your mouth water? Those kind of foods, they have the unhealthy fat. So if you avoid that, then you're obviously cutting out calories from those bad fats that you don't need, but you still need these healthy fats. Now, when I do my nutritional assessments, a lot of times people will have that fatty acid imbalance, meaning that their omega-6 and their omega-3 is really out of whack, which is very common for people on the standard American diet, because those omega-6s come from the more processed foods and ultra-processed foods. And so we're getting those omega-6s. Omega-6s aren't bad for you. We need them. They're essential, but we have them in too high of a quantity, and we don't have omega-3 in near enough quantity. You want the omega-3 to 6 could be like a 1 to 2, a 1 to 3 ratio. And the last thing I read, I think it was more like omega-6 was 20 to omega-3, 1%. And so that creates inflammation in the body, and we don't want an inflamed body. An inflamed body doesn't feel well. It doesn't function well. If it stays chronically inflamed, it creates disease. And so by upping your omega-3 fats and really watching where those omega-6s are coming from, then you're going to be very anti-inflammatory. You're going to stay satiated with that fat in your body. It satiates you. And not only that, but it's essential for hormone health, for your cell health. And I know you guys all know there are vitamins that are fat soluble. They need fat present in order to be absorbed. We're talking A, D, E, and K. You know how important vitamin D is right now. I can't, especially with what we went through the last few years, how important, imperative it is for you to have your vitamin D levels up higher, and vitamin E is very underrated as well. And most Americans can use more vitamin E in their diet. And maybe they're getting enough of that, but they're not absorbing it because they are a little fat phobic. 8-hour abs? That sounds like a dream, right? What if I told you you could work on those abs while you dream? It's not too good to be true, I promise. It's something I discovered almost accidentally that gives you incredible results with minimal effort. The idea behind this is actually in what you're not doing. By giving your digestion time to rest, you allow your body to tap into its fat stores, hence working on that six pack while you sleep. All you have to do is eat within an 8-hour window and leave the rest up to your body. I wrote the 8-Hour Abs Diet back in 2014 to help people learn about the importance of meal timing. Intermittent fasting has been a huge part in helping me stay in the shape that I am. For me, intermittent fasting means eating in an 8-hour window, and I'll give you my insight on it in this free ebook. With proper meal timing, you will not only look better, but you're going to feel better too. So learn more by visiting melissamadeonline.com/ebooks and get your free copy of the 8-Hour Abs Diet today. So please don't be. Now, you don't have to go on something as extreme as the keto diet and have that much fat, but I also don't want you to look at healthy foods and think to yourself, oh, I shouldn't eat that because it has more calories. Ooh. That to me is not a healthy relationship with food, okay? When you look at something and you think of it because of calories and you cut out dense nutrition and essential parts of being a healthy human because it might have a few more calories, okay? We do overeat. I overeat. When I watch how much I eat, I'm like, ooh, I've been overeating. What I'm supposed to have is not near as much as what, when I just kind of go off the rail, what I have. And that again is because there are those unhealthy fats in there, and there's a lot of sugar in the foods that kind of make you feel always hungry. But having a nutrient dense diet that is within your calorie range of whether you're wanting to lose some body fat, maintain your weight, or gain muscle, 3 completely different things, having those healthy fats in there and taking that into consideration with your calorie range, you're going to feel amazing, and you're going to feel more satiated as opposed to eating, a very large majority of your calories coming from more processed, higher carbohydrate foods. So please don't fear the fat. Know how important that it is, and it's not the fat that's bad. It's not fat that causes heart disease. It's not fat that makes you fat by any means. It's the type of fat, just like the type of carbohydrates. If you're, your people that know me, if you don't know me, now you know, I like my hot tamales. When I used to be a waitress at Outback Steakhouse, the bartender, his name was Bob, he would always bring me in one of those bigger, like those movie size boxes of hot tamales, and I would stick it in my apron with my checks, and I would eat a whole one every single night. It's a lot of sugar. I was on my feet a lot, but it's a lot of sugar. That kind of carbohydrate is no good. It's no good for your health, just like trans fat is no good for your health. But please don't skip the egg yolk. And if you feel like my body doesn't agree with fat, that is a symptom of a problem, and you need to fix that problem, not continue to not eat your healthy fats. Watch what types of fats that you're getting, and work to build that up. If you might have a diseased or a low functioning gallbladder, I want you to check with your doctor. But ox bile salts are really good for people that don't have a gallbladder or have one that's not functioning very well. There's lots of supplements out there that can help with, if you have your gallbladder, to help decongest it and stuff and make it work better. But if it was taken out, number one, I'm sorry. Number two, you need things that will help you digest the fat, emulsifiers, and you can get some enzymes and ox bile salts to help you, but don't skip the fat because you think now that you don't have a gallbladder that you shouldn't eat it. You absolutely should. Brain health, hormone health, cell health, great skin, hair, all that stuff. But if you have your gallbladder seems to be working great, and you just have the block of fat, I'm here to tell you, from all that I've seen, the women that I have worked with that have changed that up a little bit, I'm sleeping better, higher sex drive, more energy, all of that stuff, because they're eating a nutrient dense diet that includes these healthy fats. So promise me this year, you're not going to fear the fat. Fear the stuff that's got no shelf life and in a really pretty colorful box that gives you those fake terms. You know, well, they'll say low in fat as if that's a good thing. They'll say heart healthy. We won't go there. All of those kind of things. Added vitamins and minerals, fortified. Skip that. Look for real whole food, and learn to be your own best chef. I should do a podcast on that, you guys. If you tell me that you're not a great cook, I'm not either. If you had told me to make something really fancy, I couldn't do it. I can cook very simply, but with trial and error, with different kinds of cooking methods, cast iron, air fryer, roasting, baking, steaming. That's one way to try different things. You've heard me say a million times, Brussels, my mom, I love you, Mom, but she would boil Brussels sprouts. They not only smelled like farts, they would make the whole house stink, but they were slimy, they were disgusting. And it took me realizing how healthy they are for me. And I really need to suck it up. You're an adult, suck it up, eat the healthy stuff. That I found a way to make it so I enjoy it. I used to put them in the air fryer, and I was like, yeah, it's way better. But then I kept playing with my food. As an adult, I play with my food. And I put it in the cast iron and I roasted them in the oven instead. And it's a game changer. I don't know why, but if you're air frying your Brussels sprouts, I want to encourage you to lightly spritz them with a healthy oil, to get all of the vitamins out of the Brussels sprouts, and roast them instead. It's a completely different experience. They're still crispy on the outside, but they're not dried out. Good stuff. But anyway, trying the different methods, herbs and spices, huge, and different oils as well. You can cook with certain oils. Mick likes to put balsamic vinegar at the end when he cooks vegetables, turns it off and just puts a little bit of balsamic vinegar on there. It kind of gives it a caramelization. Don't underestimate sea salt and pepper. You guys know I'm a fan of Tutu's Pantry. She's out of Hawaii. They're incredible. They're my favorite by far. But anyway, I digress. Eat your fat. Be a fathead. Eat your fat. Going to turn 49 in about a month, and I am not afraid of fat, and I have a very, very, very healthy body. And I think I've taught my children well to not fear fat, and then Mick will eat whatever I make him. So he has plenty of fat as well. And we are very, very healthy adults with very healthy children. So please have your fat. Okay. As always, I hope that you wake up feeling prepared to eat your fat, and that you go to bed feeling proud that you ate your healthy omega-3s. Anyway, you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Wow, we've reached the end. But before I leave you, I'd love to hear from you. After all, it's not every day that someone reaches out and asks for your opinion. And to me, your opinion does matter. So please share this episode with anyone that you think needs to hear this message. And remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. My name is Melissa McAllister. And until next time, thank you for being your own health advocate.